Welcome to the Hair Metal Rules podcast, where we celebrate all things 80s hair and glam rock. Join us as we dive into the world of spandex, big hair, and killer guitar solos with your host, Big J. From iconic bands like Motley Crue and Def Leppard to the lesser-known gems of the era like Lillian Axe and Babylon AD, we cover them all. So grab your hairspray and leather pants because it's time to rock out with the Hair Metal Rules podcast. Hi everyone, it's great to be back with another exciting episode of the podcast. I'm thrilled to have a very special guest joining us today, and I know you're all going to enjoy him. Hey, how about that killer show theme provided by Tom Tracy Music? Tom, week after week, the show would not be the same without your theme song, and I greatly appreciate it. I just want to take a moment and thank the listeners who tuned in. Your support means the world to me. And now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming the incredible Sam Spade from the Midnight Devils to the show. Hey Sam, welcome to the Hair Metal Rules podcast.
Bring on the crazy. I welcome it.
Dr. Starr told me to tell you hello and congratulations on album number 3.
Love Dr. Starr. What a living legend. I will say this, and I got the most respect for that guy. Did it up in the LA, and we had many good chats on music and life and everything. And Dr. Starr, I absolutely love that guy.
Yeah, I saw him on Instagram, and the first thing I remember about Dr. Starr, I'll be 53 years old on Sunday, so this was out of Rip magazine. I saw an ad that he shows talking about Dr. Starr.
Yeah,
and I read about it, and never in a million years would I have imagined that Dr. Starr was a friend of mine. I started talking to him, and I've done everything I can, to help him get his stuff on Instagram and all.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, you need to write a book, man. I said, you got so many stories.
And he's from Nebraska. I think maybe born and raised in Nebraska, and then went out to LA. And so me and my wife run a strip club here in Lincoln. And so Dr. Starr started coming in and started talking to us and became friends and realized like, hey, we're very similar. We have very similar experiences. He was 20 years before I was doing it out in LA. And we ended up with like the Dr. Starr like limited edition vinyl that he had lying around. And it was just so cool, the stories that he had. And when I would be going through stuff, I'd be like, Doc, I got all this on my plate. What do I do? And he just kind of talked me through all these really tough situations that really only guys and bands can really, grasp and realize. And he's just been kind of a godsend, as somebody I look up to. Yeah,
I told him, I said, sir, you lived a life that a lot of guys would have killed to live. Look at the people and still the connections you still have. So he's a great guy. I like talking to him. My phone might ding at 12 o'clock at night, knowing I've been asleep for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
It might ding, and I got something on my mind. I need to. But he's a great guy. So
now you got to make me give him a call when we're done with this interview. Now, just touch base.
Yeah, he was trying to Instagram call me when I was sitting here waiting, and I sent him a text message. Get ready to talk to Sam. I'll talk to him. Well, tell Sam I said hello.
Awesome. Awesome.
So what's a bunch of guys from Omaha, Nebraska, and Chicago, Illinois, forming a glam metal band all about? Tell me how it started.
It really started out of the ashes of a band called 3D in Your Face, and Sniper and I were half of this band, this kind of 80s hair metal tribute band from Omaha, and it was great. We had a blast, but we weren't traveling as much as we wanted to, and we were playing a lot of covers, and we weren't the shot callers, if you will. So one day we just decided, let's start our own band. And we started out as a 2-piece acoustic act called the Midnight Devils, which was one of the album names from 3D in Your Face. And we'd go, let's just add like the Rolling Stones, the Sex Pistols, all this. And we're going to start it that way. We started 2-piece acoustic, just doing small town bars in Nebraska and Iowa. And we finally got to the point where like the people are talking louder than we're playing. We need a drummer. We need Bob Dylan. We got to turn this thing electric, and we got a drummer. The first drummer played with us for about 6 months and didn't work out. And we were in the middle of a tour, and the drummer that we had quit in the middle of a tour. Like one night he was on stage, the next night he just walked off stage and never came back. And so we called up Jimmy Mess. He was in Chicago, Illinois. He goes, I'd love to do the show. I'd love to do the rest of the tour, but you got to come pick me up. So it became it really was the signal of when the craziness would begin, and this wild ride of the Midnight Devils really started. Was that day that we drove from, I rented a car, drove from Omaha to Chicago, picked up Jimmy, drove all the way back, all in the same night. And we got into our bus in Omaha, went down to Oklahoma, finished the rest of the tour with Jimmy not having played with us ever before. And on the way home, he goes, you know what, this seems right. This seems like it could be really fun. Let's keep this going. And we just started hitting the road as hard as we could. And really just this grassroots punk rock touring of just going to every city, all the way out to California, all the way out to New York, all the way down to Texas, and we just kept going, and we never stopped.
Well, that's great. I think what I try to do personally, my website is my Instagram page is hair metal, glam metal. Mm-hmm. I liked hard rock too when I was in high school. I was the type, if I heard a song, it didn't matter if it was Rock's Gang or Metal Church.
Yeah.
If I liked the song, but back then, you had to buy a cassette tape, and
right,
you might like one song on the whole cassette tape, but you bought it anyway. So I think it's great. I like you guys' look. I was always attracted to the glam metal part, your Rock's Gang and Pretty Boy Floyd. But I think it's great that you guys are still out there. You're making great music. I mean,
thank you.
And my goal, and I don't know how many people I can reach, my goal is to get younger people interested in this music and not let it die, because the 80s was a great decade to have lived in.
Yeah.
The music, and I just want to keep it going. And you guys with the look, and you have fun out there. You have some crazy songs, that people just migrate to. So I think it's great what you're doing, and I don't know you personally, but I'll say I'm proud of you, because you guys you're doing what you love to do. And my papa always told me, when you have something you love doing, you don't mind getting up and doing it every day.
Absolutely. And this band was really, like, we started it out just to be the masters of our own destiny. And that's really, like, we took that philosophy to the grave and hammered it home with the way we dress and the way that we put out records and the way that we tour. I mean, right now we don't do it with managers, and we don't do it. We just signed a label deal, but as the first one that, that's really helping us out. And it was like, how wild can we dress? And then you just kind of start pushing these boundaries of like, what can we get away with? What can we do? And how can we be different than every other band out there? And it's not that we want to be different. It's just that we've been given this kind of freedom. And it goes back to growing up as punk rockers, but also growing up loving Kiss, and just like how big of a show and how ridiculous, how funny can we make this? And at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's like, how much fun can we have being in a rock and roll band? And I think that gets lost on a lot of new bands or a lot of other people. It's this we have got into this band to have fun and to travel the world and laugh our asses off. And that's what we do. And when the three of us are together, it's like this just combustible rock and roll gang, this party that just travels from city to city. And it just, like, it gives us a home and a place. And like, even opening for bands like Enough's Enough and Pretty Boy Floyd, they're so awesome. But we are the guys that are coming up that are like biting at their heels. Like, you guys, once it's we're coming for you. And I always think of it like that. Like, we love these guys, we play with our heroes, but we're also still out there to cut throats and be the best band that there is.
Well, that's the attitude you always. It's like, when you got a pack of dogs, the last dog in the pack is looking at rear ends.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you want to be at the front of the pack, so they're looking at your rear end, correct?
Yep. And
Um,
you learn from these guys on the road, and I've learned so much from Steve Summers and from Chip and all these great acts that we've toured with, and you just learn and you take that and apply it to your band and then magnify it by like 1,000, you know.
I will say I've talked to Steve a couple of times, and I will say that guy is one of the hardest working people I believe I've ever seen. He's keeping Pretty Boy Floyd alive.
Yes.
He's got a young band, so he's smart. He's got a young band, and the younger people are migrating to
Yep.
the guys in that band. And Steve just does what he does. He'll put a pair of sunglasses on and then throw them out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But a lot of the it's funny. A lot of the bands from the '80s, Pretty Boy Floyd was big, but they could have been bigger. But
Right.
it's just what happened with the music. Next thing you know, you got a bunch of
Right.
guys in plaid looking down at their feet playing a guitar.
Yep.
But if you still have it in your heart to do it, which I admire him for, and that's a great thing, and it's good that you guys hooked up with him,
And I definitely think there's a changing, and I can feel it in the air, like the tides are changing again to where I've been saying this the whole time, like people, no matter who they are, there's so much bad stuff going on in the world that people want to listen to great rock and roll music. They don't want to listen to modern metal. They don't want to listen to grunge. They don't want to listen to pop to dance to like people just want to go out and have a blast. And that's so rare to find bands that are doing that. I always think that Pretty Boy Floyd is one of those bands, and Steve is one of the greatest frontman. I watch him every night to pick up tips and tricks of how he keeps his voice like that, how he commands an audience. And that's really the stuff that we watch on stage. And it just we just went out to M3 and did the big M3 pre-party, and there was so many a wide variety. The audience was so big, young kids to adults, but everybody, once we got up on stage, we launched into like Panama by Van Halen, and no matter who it was in the building was going crazy. Right. And that's like that testament, like there's a tide coming of people that just want to party and want to have fun and want to dress up and want to look great and really just go out and be rock and roll and have fun with rock and roll.
See that me and my wife, we were at M3 this year. We've been like 3 times. And I know, do you call him Dr. Star or do you call him Rand?
Dr. Star.
Dr. Star, he texted me and he said, "You're going to go see the Midnight Devils?" I said, "Well, we just got here. So I think they're getting ready to play, and they're a little ways further than where we are. But M3 is one of the best things I believe I ever get to see. And you're right. I walked around out in the audience because I'm trying to hand out cards. Huh?
If you were out in the audience, then Yep.
Yeah, and there's young kids, there's 70-year-olds out there. Mm-hmm. I can honestly say I have a daughter that'll be 25, and that youngin started listening to hair metal when she was about 3, because that's all I ever listened to. So now she's got a love for it. But it was great seeing the age ranges at M3, and so many bands you get to see. And I saw bands I'd never seen before that I have been following since the 80s. But I hope you guys play there sometime. That'd be great.
That's our goal. And you better believe as soon as that the Rush tribute band canceled, I was on the horn trying to get that opening spot.
That would have been great, because I told my wife, I said, well, wonder who they're going to put on there. They're either going to put another band on, or they're just going to lengthen everybody's set. So, but it'd be great seeing you guys up there.
I don't mean to make this as a platform for me to spew my opinion or anything.
Sure.
But kind of what happens in these situations is that there's these gatekeepers and these people that are really that are in charge, right? And with M3, unless it's like you got to be a legacy act to get on that stage, and that's the tough part, is be younger bands and guys that are coming up don't necessarily get that chance to play because they're not a legacy act. So that's like the tough thing that we run into is, hey, we're a rock and roll band, we're ready to go, but we weren't a band from the 80s that had a bunch of hits. We're new coming up and hungry and ready to work, but it's getting that chance. And that's the tough part, is breaking down the door to the gatekeeper for them to give you a chance. So really it's this punk rock attitude where it's cool. You can say no. I'm going to keep knocking on the door. I'm going to keep pounding that door down. I'm going to keep beating the road until you notice me.
That's the bad thing about the business itself.
Yep.
You got, like you say, you guys are not walking out of the 80s with 10 albums under your belt and
Right.
people that have been following you like, hey, we're going to see LA Guns. It might only be one of LA Guns,
right,
but it's LA Guns. You know what I mean? Somebody's representing. And I understand what you mean about, you're starting out, 4 decades later? 80,
right,
90, yeah, 4 decades later and getting into this music. I knew this morning I posted a video by Crazy Licks.
Yeah.
And they have, I think they're from Sweden, right?
Yeah, they're huge. Like they're huge overseas.
Yeah, and they sound just like they were playing at the Whiskey a Go-Go 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sound that you guys have. To me personally, I told my wife when I first saw you guys, I said, I got to read more about them. I said, I don't remember them from the 80s, but then I got to read, and I was like, no, these guys are a new band.
Right.
They got the sound, and that's awesome,
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's the cool thing is it's just this sonically exciting movement that's happening with new rock bands. And even when we go overseas, when we go to Europe, we go to Australia, for some reason, and it's like this cool thing where American rock and roll hits harder. And I'll say this from the bottom of my heart, American rock and roll for some reason hits harder than the European bands or than the Australian bands. So we got this leg up, but the crowds in America are smaller and different than they are overseas. And overseas, it's like it's their life, and it's not just a hobby. They go out with their battle vests on, the tattoos and everything, and the crowds are huge. They go ballistic. They go crazy for rock and roll. Where America, you still got to win them over. But it's this movement of bands that are doing it still.
It seems that it seems like you're right. In America, it's like, okay, whatever the new trend is, what
right.
You know what I mean? Everybody goes to, but stuff on YouTube and read stuff that like you just said. If Dokken were to get together and go overseas,
oh yeah,
people would go crazy.
Yeah,
but here it's like, I was so happy to see George Lynch because he's always been one of my guitar heroes, and it was cool seeing him in M3. It's the first time I've ever laid eyes on him, probably the last time I ever seen him, but I got to see him,
Yep.
And you're right, Americans, they're. And I like some of the newer metal that's out. But when I get in the car, my truck's on Hair Nation.
Every time.
It's just great music. And it was a great, like I said, that great decade to have experienced. And like I said, it stuck with me for 40 years. So, what's the first concert you ever attended?
The first one that I ever saw, and I'm really blessed to be able to say this, when I was 16, my parents bought me and my buddy tickets to go see Kiss, Ted Nugent, and Skid Row, that package tour that happened. Right. And that was the defining moment that changed everything for me, because it was like even though I was 16, my parents sat up in the balcony, but they let me and my buddy go down on the floor. And it's like the first time I ever smelled marijuana, the first time I seen chicks on dudes' shoulders taking their boobs out, Ted Nugent's up there dropping F-bombs that are shaking the whole entire room. And I go, I think I want to do this. Like, this is the most exciting thing. It was before reserved seating, so like everybody was standing in the pit, and Kiss was out and just decimated the whole arena, and I was like, well, that's it. That's what I want to do. It's all over from here.
So that was your inspiration.
Yep. Kiss, Skid Row, and Ted Nugent. Yep,
your first concert was Skid Row. My first concert was Skid Row and Bon Jovi.
Oh shit!
They
awesome.
were on the New Jersey tour, and I remember it snowed. It was supposed to play on Friday night, and it snowed here in North Carolina like 4 or 5 inches. And when it snows here, people there's no bread, there's no milk, there's no eggs. People don't know how to drive. It doesn't snow here very often, but anyway, It snowed, and my neighbors next door, they were girls, and one was a year older, and the other one was like 3 years older. But we begged our parents to give us money because it was $16 to get a ticket. And we drove up there, and don't want no ice. We drove up there, and I saw Skid Row, and I thought to myself, that's these guys are great.
Yeah.
And they kicked Bon Jovi's rear end.
Was Skid Row on the first album? They had to be.
Yes.
Had the first album come out?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that they blew Bon Jovi away, and I'm thinking to myself, I got me a Skid Row T-shirt. I wish I still had it, but
yeah.
I got me a Skid Row T-shirt, and I'm not like you with you seeing Kiss, and you're like, this is what I want to do. I always wanted to grow my hair out long, but I was a hair metal preppy in high school, but I did wear my T-shirts and all that stuff, but my parents just didn't let me do the whole hair thing. My dad would have had a fit, but
I understand. My dad, I fought my dad still to this day. When are you gonna cut your hair?
When are you gonna cut your hair? It's funny. Like I told you in that Instagram message when we were at Rockin' Pod, I saw you walk through the door, and I told my wife, I was like, "Damn, there's Sam from the Midnight Devils." I said, "I hope he walks around here." Sure enough, are you really that tall, or do you have?
No, yeah. I just wear Chucks. Yeah.
You're incredibly tall. You're very menacing looking, not in a bad way, but when I see you walk by with the war paint on and your hair all that, but you were so nice. You walked over and you put your arm around me and my wife. I showed you the picture. I'm like, that's pretty cool right there.
And that's the thing, like that first glimpse, and that's what a Midnight Devil show is, and especially on a lot of these shows that we're still a young band working on our third record right now, but I see it happen every night where we'll walk into a bar that we've never been to. People are like, okay, we got some rockers here, some weird space aliens, and then we put the makeup on and we come out and put our we're ready to play, and people's jaws hit the ground and they think, like, what are these rodeo clowns doing here? We got to stay and watch this. It's either going to be really, really bad or really, really good. But whatever it is, I'm intrigued. I'm kind of terrified. I got to stay and watch this show.
But see, that's your niche. Niche, is that how you say the word?
Yeah.
And you like you say, they're either gonna say you sucked, or they're gonna be like, oh my God, what did I just watch?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what it is.
Like the whole first song, I just see people, their jaws just on the ground as soon as we start playing it. I'm like, okay, we gotta win them over now. We gotta bring the energy. We gotta just burn this place to the ground and leave them wanting more. And it works, and it works every night. I see it brilliantly. And very few times have we actually gotten in altercations with people that were offended by the way we look or by the way we dress, but it's happened. We've been run out of town in certain places, but that's very few and far between. And it's just like that people love it because it's that throwback to the 80s, but it's brand new and exciting. It's that cool cross section of hooking the people that grew up on the music, and then people that are now discovering it.
Well, people being my age, and I see a band like the Midnight Devils, and my curiosity's up because in my opinion, you guys weren't face makeup, but you look like the guitar player from Rock's Game.
Yeah.
You have that look, so now I'm intrigued because I liked that, and I want to hear. I want to hear what you sound like, and the image goes with the music, and that's good. That's a good thing. Can you tell me what a typical day for Sam Spade is?
It's really, my days when I'm home are very we work our butts off, and that's something to say about we fund this band. We don't have management. We don't have people that do this for us. We do it all ourselves, and I'm very, very proud of that. Like that punk rock thing. So we work every single day that we're not on the road at the strip club. We'll go in and do our show there. Carrie, my wife, and I just do our show every night at the strip club, and it's this big club. There's 80 girls, and so we're out late. So our days are kind of flip flopped to where we're working 8 p.m. to 3 or 4 a.m. So for me, getting up at 2 o'clock to do an interview with you is about the normal time. So we'll get up at 2 and then work on band related stuff. So right now later today, I'm going to be submitting the artwork for the new record to our the label in Australia. And so it's like we'll work all the way up tirelessly till 8 p.m. and then go into the strip club and work there with the girls all night long. And so it's just that We do that every day so that we're able to afford touring and any of the stuff that goes along with it. I also love working at the strip club because it's like we get to do a rock show every night. It's very cool. You get to hang out with chicks, and there's always something exciting going on. But on the road, it's a little different. But I'm such a creature of habit that being on the road for so long, you start to develop these habits of doing stuff this exact same way every day to kind of keep your sanity. So with being on the road, we wake up at 10 or 11 at the hotel, and you get in the van and you drive to the next city, and that's what we do, and nobody complains about it. It's just like that given. This is what we do. We get on the road and we go do our show, go to the hotel and do it again the next night. Rinse, wash, repeat. It's really that simple.
You just have a routine, you know.
Yeah, it's a
like
simple
that's the
routine.
way I am. I do the same thing every day.
Every day.
You know, but at least your mind and your body is disciplined to where when I get up every day, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And so your nighttime is basically someone's day, because your night runs into 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So
correct.
I don't know how you do it. I feel old every day. I'm ready to go to sleep by 9 o'clock, but if that's what you're used to doing, that's pretty neat.
And we're out just we did a show. I think we've been at the club. What did it say? Wednesday? No, today's Thursday. So we've been at the club every day since last Monday.
Wow. Do y'all play every night?
And we're not playing. I'm the DJ.
Oh, so, okay.
So we DJ. I DJ every night. Yes. Yep. Cool. So it kind of throw that rock and roll show, and we take that aspect of doing a rock show into the strip club. You got a beginning, a middle, an end, and everything in between is just you kind of deal with the problems as they come.
If you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 albums would you have to have while you were on the island?
It's very good question. The first one is Kiss Alive. The first Alive record, I think, is my bread and butter, and that was the one I remember that they kind of have those ding moments when you listen to those. That one, I'd say maybe the first New York Dolls record, the one where the gray one, self-titled.
Yeah.
For some reason, that was the one that transitioned me from being punk rock, like loving punk rock and loving the Ramones, but loving Kiss. And then the New York Dolls was that middle ground.
Kind of in the middle, yeah.
Yeah.
A little combination of both of them.
Yep. Yeah. And then my last one would be AC/DC is a good one. AC/DC Back in Black. Because I feel that album, you can listen to it front to back and there's no
song.
You know every song.
Yeah, right. It's good to get an album. I have albums that's like that I can listen to them, just put over and over and over again. I never get tired of it. I like every single song.
Yeah.
My first introduction to rock and roll was when I was probably about 8, and I stayed with my aunt, and she had a son. Steve was probably he was in 12th grade at that time, and he had a fake Gibson Les Paul. I don't know what you'd call it, but it looked just like. And he played Boston and he played Kiss Alive over and over and over again. And he would lift up the needle and he would play it. And he learned so much, and that was my intro, because I would just go in there and sit in his room and just watch him and listen. And you hear songs like that and you have a memory in your head. Like, I know where I was at, So
Boston, that first Boston record, the same thing. You know every song that's coming up next.
Yes, you sure do. And it's funny. You hear. I'm not the biggest Boston fan in the world, but I like Boston. But yet when I hear it, I can probably sing every word of it because I've consciously, know the song and have listened to it over and over again. So that's what I have for you. I don't want to keep you a long time. I know you just got up. You're a busy man, and I really like your music. And like I said, I'm just trying to. I don't know if my podcast will ever go anywhere, but you know what? If it don't, I'm enjoying doing it.
Yeah, as long as it makes you happy, that's what matters. And that's at the end of the day. Like, you just got to be happy with that. And I think that's the coolest thing is you do it no matter what, regardless of what anybody else says. You're like, I like this, so I'm going to do it. And I think that's a lot of what the mentality of the Midnight Devils is. Like, we're not following trends. We're not following what other people are doing. We're going out and doing what we want to do because we like it and because we know there's a demand. And there's a lot of people like you and a lot of your listeners that are craving new music from this genre. And there's only one way to keep it going, and that's supporting these up and coming bands. And it's like, as much as I love the great bands that came before us, there's going to be a time when Def Leppard and Motley Crue and all these bands go away. What's going to follow that? What is the next movement and the next set of kids that are coming up that have carved out a space for themselves? And there's really like we when we started this band, there was like one way to be successful, and that was to be on tour, be on the road, and do what we do to people that want to hear it. And it's like, get in a van, go on tour, and do what you got to do, because there's this demand. It's not going to be easy. It's going to suck, and we're not going to make money doing it. But the reward creatively, spiritually, it's there. And I feel it every single day with this band of people that love great rock and roll, love the Midnight Devils, love what we're doing, and kind of love that we're giving the middle finger to everybody else out there that's not on board. And I think that's what rock and roll is. That's why we did this. That's why we got in this, to tell our parents to stick it up, you know?
You make a good point, and I've never really thought much about it. There's going to come, like you're right, there's going to come a day when Motley Crue's not going to get another guitar player. They're not going to get a drummer, and they're not going to exist anymore. All you have is music. But the next guys that come along that look like Motley Crue and have a sound, Motley Crue's still there, but hey, we got these cats over here that, they sound like them, they act like them, they're playing good music, but they're making their own music. And that's what I like about you guys. You got the look, but you got your own sound.
Yeah.
I read a lot about you. I follow you on Instagram and all, and you guys work hard too. Yeah. And you're right. Anything in life worth doing, it ain't always gonna be easy.
Right.
So, I wish you good luck. I wish you good luck on your next album.
Thank you.
I'll be getting it just as soon as it goes on sale.
Yeah. And I'm so excited for you to hear it. I think you're absolutely going to love it. We had the guy that produced it. There are three people that produced it, and I just couldn't have asked for a better team to back us. We were on tour in Italy. Our tour manager in Italy is like, you guys are great. You're like the next Veins Agenda, but you don't have the songs. And he goes, you need to talk to my buddy. His name's Rick Browdy. He produced the first Poison record, and he produced Ted Nugent, and he produced Faster Pussycat, and wrote songs with Joan Jett. And I was like, whoa, this guy's like the real deal. And so he hooked us up with Rick Browdy to produce it. And Rick has Cher from Vixen and Bam from Dogs D'Amour as producers and arrangers too. So we have this triple threat team of amazing people that have already done huge things. And we get down to Florida where we recorded the album, and we walk into Rick's house, and there's like the gold records, the platinum records on the wall. And I go, I think we're in good hands. We're going to have a really good record on our hands.
I think you're in the right place.
Yeah. So it's a monster. The songs are catchy. It's exactly what you'd think that the Midnight Devils are going to put out with this amazing team behind them.
Well, I hope the album takes off. And
thank you.
I hope you guys maybe come near North Carolina sometime, because I've never seen you live. I'd love to see you play. So you come to North Carolina, I'll be out there. I got my wife hooked on hair. I got my wife hooked on hair metal too. She didn't know too much about it other than, I used to love Every Rose Has Its Thorn. I was like, yeah, that's every teenage girl's breakup song in the 80s.
Right, that's the tip of the iceberg, the exact tip. Wait till you see. I've
got her. She could recognize people, and I'm a collector at M3. I'm constantly looking to see who's walking down the aisle so I can get out there and get my picture with them.
Yeah.
My wife's like, it's amazing. You know these people's names. I was like, I have listened to this for 40 years.
Yeah.
It's not my life, but it's listening to your type of music, your band, listening to 80s music. It takes me back to a better place in my life.
Sure.
Because you're right, what you said earlier. This world is crazy right now. And if I could put the Midnight Devils on and turn it wide open and not worry about I got to pay the rent.
Yep.
Or we owe taxes or whatnot. If that can take you to a better place for a short period of time, then that's what it's all about, my friend.
You're preaching to the choir. You gave me goosebumps when you said that. You're absolutely right.
But it's true, and
yep.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. It means a lot to me.
My pleasure.
And I wish you guys the best of luck, and I hope to see you again sometime.
Let's talk when the new album comes out.
Okay, I'll get you back on, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see if everybody's banging their head to it. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we're gonna be in Australia. Right when the album comes out, we'll be in Australia and Japan. But if you hit me up on Instagram and you can set one up, and we'll do a interview from Australia. It's no problem.
Sure, sounds good. Well, I do appreciate your time. I hope you have a good day, and God bless you and the band. Okay.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
Take care, buddy.
Yeah. See ya.
Ain't looking back while your city burns. You gotta let that motherfucker burn. Rolling down that highway 69. It's time to step up and leave all that bullshit behind. She's out on her heels, so just shut up and drive. Keep me coming back for more on that highway 69. Shove that rock and roll up your nose. It's impossible to see the light creeping through the shadows. Well, it was easy to get and then hard to let go. Rising from the ashes, we are indestructible. Ain't looking back while your mountains fall. The fucking harder they fall, the fucking harder they fall. Rolling down that highway 69. Time to step up and leave all that bullshit behind. She's out on her heels, so just shut up and drive. Keep me coming back for more on that highway 69. Ain't looking back at the end of the road. You gotta let that motherfucker burn. Rolling down that highway 69. Time to step up and leave all that bullshit behind. She's out on her heels, so just shut up and drive. Keep me coming back for more on that highway 69. Well, you need the spirit, and I'll be the night. Try to step up and leave all that bullshit behind. She's all on her heels, so just shut up and drive. We've been coming back for more on that highway 69.
Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the Hair Metal Rules podcast. A big thank you to Sam Spade for taking time out of his busy schedule to talk with us. The pre-sale for the new album, So Hard It Hurts, is available now at themidnightdevils.com. Various packages are offered with t-shirts, signed CDs, and posters, so go check it out and support the band. They're just a great bunch of guys playing some awesome music and having a great time doing it. The band will embark on a tour of Australia soon. Hopefully, we will get another interview with Sam from the road. Before I end the podcast, I want to do something special for one of my listeners. My buddy Tom Tracy told me his father-in-law listens to and likes the show. For what I understand, Mr. Judge is a huge Rat fan. His name's Mike Judge. Here's a song for you, Mike. This is Nobody Rides for Free.
Get back, let me be who I wanna be.
band, I hope this puts a smile on your face. Listeners, I appreciate your support and hope the things we discuss on the show bring back some great memories for you. Until next time, keep rocking and stay tuned for more shows filled with exciting talk about your favorite hair metal bands. Until next time, so long and God bless you all.